Hey coin collectors and history buffs, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins. Today we're uncovering the top 5 most valuable UK halfpenny coins and breaking down their history, value, and what makes them so special. So whether you're looking to start collecting or curious about that old halfpenny you found in your drawer, stay tuned. 1959 UK halfpenny. The 1959 UK halfpenny, also known as the halfpenny, was part of a long tradition of British coinage that dates back centuries. The British halfpenny was first minted in the early 13th century but underwent several redesigns over time. By the 20th century, the halfpenny was a staple in everyday transactions. This particular 1959 version belongs to the Elizabeth II series, minted from 1954 to 1967. The halfpenny was a part of the pre-decimal currency system, where £1 was divided into 240 pence. That means it took 480 halfpennies to make a pound. Can you imagine carrying all those around? Now let's take a closer look at the design. The 1959 halfpenny has some beautiful and intricate details. On the obverse front, you'll find the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. This portrait was designed by Mary Gillick and was used on British coins from 1953 to 1970. It shows a youthful queen with a laurel wreath symbolizing peace and victory. You'll see the famous depiction of a sailing ship, the HMS Golden Hind, the ship of Sir Francis Drake. This design by Thomas Humphrey Paget was used on halfpennies from 1937 until the coin was discontinued in 1967. And the inscription around the ship reads halfpenny in the year 1959. Here are some important specifications of the 1959 UK halfpenny. Material bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin. Weight 5.67 grams. Diameter 25.5 mm. Thickness approximately 1.6 mm. Edge plain smooth. Mintage in 1959. Over 55 million halfpennies were minted, making it a fairly common coin for the time. So how much is a 1959 UK halfpenny worth today? Well, the value of a coin depends on several factors, including its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. Circulated condition: if your coin has been in circulation and shows signs of wear, it's likely to be worth anywhere from 10 to 50 pence GBP. Not a fortune, but a nice addition to any collection. The uncirculated condition: if you have a 1959 halfpenny in uncirculated condition, meaning it's never been used and shows no wear, its value can increase significantly. These coins can fetch between PS2 to PS5 in auctions or from collectors. Proof coins, although rare, if you manage to come across a proof version of the 1959 halfpenny, it could be worth as much as PS10 to PS15. Keep in mind that coin values fluctuate based on market demand and rarity, so it's always good to check with a professional numismatist for the most up-to-date valuation. Did you know that the UK halfpenny was officially demonetized in 1969? After decimalization in 1971, it was no longer used in British currency. However, its legacy lives on, especially for collectors and historians who appreciate the craftsmanship and history of these tiny bronze coins. Another fun fact: due to its small value, the phrase spending a penny became synonymous with small transactions or everyday expenses. It's a phrase you might still hear today, though it's more of a charming piece of nostalgia now. 1944 UK halfpenny. The year was 1944, World War II was still raging, and Britain was a key player in the Allied forces. During this time, many things were in short supply, but the British economy still needed small denominations like the halfpenny for everyday transactions. The 1944 UK halfpenny features the classic design of King George VI, a monarch who led his people through the hardships of the war. On the obverse of the 1944 halfpenny, you'll see the portrait of King George VI. His image was engraved by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget, one of the most famous coin designers of his time. George VI's profile was used on British coins from 1937 until 1952, when Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne. Now let's talk about the reverse side of the coin, one of the most iconic designs in British numismatic history. The reverse features Sir Francis Drake's famous ship, the Golden Hind. This design had been in use since 1937, symbolizing Britain's great naval history and its imperial power at sea. The ship is surrounded by the inscription halfpenny at the top and the year 1944 at the bottom. Designed by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget, this was a striking image on such a small coin, a reminder of Britain's maritime heritage. In 1944, over 85 million halfpennies were minted. This was during wartime, so the need for low-denomination coins was high as soldiers, workers, and citizens alike continued using these for daily commerce. The 1944 halfpenny is made of bronze, a combination of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. The coin weighs 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 25.5 millimeters. Its smooth edges made it distinguishable from other denominations. Now, let's talk about what you're really here for the value of the 1944 UK halfpenny. The value of any coin depends on its condition, also known as its grade. Let's break it down. Poor condition. If your coin is heavily worn and barely recognizable, it's likely worth only a few pence. These coins don't hold much value because of their poor condition and high mintage numbers. Fine condition. In fine condition, a 1944 halfpenny might be worth around PS1 to PS2. The details of King George VI and the ship are still visible, though some wear is present. Extremely fine condition in this grade, you're looking at a value of around PS5 to PS10. Most of the details are sharp, and there's minimal wear. If you're lucky enough to own a mint state 1944 halfpenny, its value can range anywhere from PS20 to PS50 to PS50, depending on how pristine the coin is. Of course, these values can fluctuate based on the market, so it's always a good idea to have your coin appraised by a professional. While the 1944 halfpenny isn't particularly rare due to its large mintage, it's still a popular coin among collectors, especially those interested in wartime currency. Some special variants, such as proof versions or those with minting errors, can fetch significantly higher prices. 1963 UK halfpenny. The 1963 UK halfpenny, also known as the hot penny, was part of British currency for centuries, and it holds a significant place in UK coinage history. Though small in size, the halfpenny was used for everyday transactions, making it a staple in British pockets. Minted in the final years of the pre-decimal era, the 1963 halfpenny was one of the last halfpennies produced before the UK switched to decimal currency in 1971. This coin belongs to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, making it a valuable piece of British numismatic history. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1963 halfpenny, starting with the obverse side.
The obverse features a young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Mary Gillick. This portrait was used on UK coins from 1953 to 1967 and shows the Queen wearing a laurel wreath, a classic nod to Roman imperial designs. Surrounding the portrait is the inscription Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina FD, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith.
Now flipping to the reverse, we see the iconic image of the ship, the Golden Hind. This was the famous galleon of Sir Francis Drake, one of England's greatest explorers. The reverse design by artist Thomas Humphrey Poggett had been used on halfpenny since 1937. Below the ship, you'll notice the date 1963 surrounding the design are the words halfpenny. So why is the 1963 halfpenny historically significant? First off, the halfpenny had been a part of British coinage since the medieval period, though it evolved significantly over time. By the mid-20th century, coins like the 1963 halfpenny were losing their purchasing power. In 1963, half a penny could still buy small everyday items like sweets or a stamp, but with inflation and changing times, the coin gradually became less practical for daily transactions. This coin represents the final era of pre-decimal currency as the UK switched to decimalization in 1971. The 1963 halfpenny was eventually demonetized on August 1st, 1969, meaning it could no longer be used in circulation. Now for the part you've been waiting for, what's this coin worth today? The value of a 1963 UK halfpenny depends on its condition. Let's break it down. Circulated condition, most 1963 halfpennies that were used in everyday transactions are only worth about 10p to 50p in today's market. Uncirculated mint state condition, however, if your coin is in near perfect uncirculated condition, it could be worth PS2 to PS5. Higher grade examples, especially ones with a clear strike and no damage, can fetch prices even higher, particularly if sold to the right buyer. Proof coins, some proof versions of this coin, special coins made with extra care for collectors, can reach values of PS10 or more, depending on demand. So while the 1963 halfpenny may not make you rich, it's still a valuable piece for collectors, especially those who appreciate the history it represents.
1965 UK halfpenny.
To truly appreciate the 1965 UK halfpenny, we need to go back in time and explore the origins of this small but important coin. The British halfpenny, also known as the halfpenny, was first introduced way back in the 13th century. Can you believe that? It has a long and rich history, but for this video, we'll focus on the more modern version of the halfpenny. The coin we're looking at today, the 1965 version, was part of the pre-decimal currency system that the UK used before switching to decimalization in 1971. The halfpenny was worth 1/480th of a pound. Now it might sound like small change, but in its day, it played an essential role in everyday transactions. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1965 halfpenny. On the obverse, you'll find a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who had been on the throne for over a decade by the time this coin was minted. The inscription around her portrait reads Elizabeth II DG. Red.F.D, which is short for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This design was created by Mary Gillick and became iconic during this period. Now flip it over to the reverse side and you'll see the detailed image of Sir Francis Drake's famous ship, the Golden Hind. This design had been used on the halfpenny since 1937, symbolizing Britain's rich naval history and exploration. In 1965, the Royal Mint produced over 97 million halfpenny coins. That's quite a lot. So as you can imagine, the 1965 halfpenny is not particularly rare in general circulation. However, condition plays a huge role in its desirability and value. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. It's important to note that after decimalization in 1971, the halfpenny became obsolete, making coins like this one a nostalgic piece of British currency history. All right, now let's talk about the value. A common question is, how much is a 1965 UK halfpenny worth today? Well, it depends on the condition of the coin. In circulated condition, these coins are usually worth between PS 0.10 to PS 0.50.50, meaning they're very affordable for most collectors. However, if you're lucky enough to have an uncirculated or mint state version 1 that has been well preserved with little to nowhere, the value could go up to around PS3 to PS5. If it's graded by a professional service, especially in higher grades, you might fetch even more, but this coin isn't typically a high value one due to its large mintage. That being said, it's still a beautiful coin with a rich history, making it a great addition to any collection. Before we wrap up, here are a few fun facts and tips for those of you looking to collect halfpennies. Did you know the halfpenny was part of the UK's currency system for over 700 years before it was phased out?
When searching for a 1965 halfpenny, always check the edges for wear and the fields, the flat parts of the coin, for scratches or damage. These details greatly affect the coin's value.
Coins from older years or those with minting errors can sometimes be more valuable, so always keep an eye out for any unusual details when examining your coins. 1937 UK halfpenny. The 1937 UK halfpenny marks the beginning of a new reign, that of King George VI. 1937 was a notable year as it was the first year that coins bearing the portrait of King George VI were minted. George VI had just ascended to the throne after his brother Edward VIII abdicated.
So, what makes the 1937 halfpenny particularly interesting? Well, this coin not only introduces a new monarch, but it also represents a continuation of a classic British coinage tradition that dates back centuries. The halfpenny was a vital part of British currency, used in everyday transactions until its eventual withdrawal in 1969. Let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of King George VI, designed by artist Thomas Humphrey Paget. The inscription around the portrait reads Jaw gives VIDGBR om Rex FD and Imp, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. This is a reflection of Britain's global reach at the time, still holding on to its empire.
Now flip the coin over and you'll see the reverse side, which features the iconic image of a ship, the Golden Hind, Sir Francis Drake's famous galleon. This design by Leonard Charles Wyon was introduced on the halfpenny in 1937 and remained a staple design until the coin was discontinued.
The detailed craftsmanship on both sides of this coin is a testament to the artistry of British coinage. Each symbol tells a story of monarchs, explorers, and empires.
Now let's get into the technical details of the 1937 UK halfpenny. Material bronze, composed of 95% copper, 4% tin, and 1% zinc. Weight 5.67 grams. Diameter 25.5 millimeters. Edge plain, without any ridges. Mintage a healthy 45,514,000 coins were struck in 1937, making it a relatively common coin. However, its value can vary based on condition and rarity. All right, now let's talk about what you're really here for, the value. The 1937 halfpenny isn't a rare coin, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. The value of the coin largely depends on its condition. Collectors grade coins based on categories like fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated. In fine condition, you're looking at around PS 0.50 to PS1. In very fine condition, the coin can fetch about PS2 to PS4. Extremely fine examples might bring in PS8 to PS108.
And if you have an uncirculated 1937 halfpenny with sharp details and lustrous surfaces, it can be worth PS20 to PS3 or even more to the right buyer.
Remember, condition is key. A well-preserved coin with minimal wear is much more valuable than one that's been heavily circulated. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin history and valuation videos. Let us know in the comments, do you have a 1937 half penny? What condition is it in? We'd love to hear from you.